Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to continue with Flipped. Um, Bryce was starting to have questions about how he feels about Julie, and he's really struggling with this. So, anyway, they're in the library for some kind of class project. And let's see, I'm going to back up and reread just a little bit for you. So, luckily in social studies, our class got library time to do research for our famous historical figure report. Darla and Julie were both in that class, but I managed to drag Garrett, his name's Garrett, into a back corner of the library without either of them noticing. And the minute we were by ourselves, I found myself laying into Garrett about chickens. He shakes his head at me and says, "Dude, what are you talking about? Remember when we went over and looked over her fence? Back in sixth grade? Yeah, remember how you were down on me for wondering what a hen was?" He rolled his eyes. "Not this again. Man, you didn't know jack diddly squat about chickens. I put my life in your hands and you dumped me in a bucket full of bull." So I told him about my dad and the eggs and salmonella and how I had been intercepting eggs for nearly 2 years. He just shrugged and said, "Makes sense to me." "Man, she caught me." "Who?" "Julie." "Whoa, dude." I told him about what I had said and how almost right after that she was out playing Weed Warrior in her front yard. "Well, so it's not your fault her yard's a mess." But then I found out that they don't even own that house. They're all poor because her dad's got a retarded brother that they're, paying for. Garrett gives me a real chumpy grin and says, "A retard? Well, that explains a lot, doesn't it?" I couldn't believe my ears. "What?" "You know," he says, still grinning, "about Julie." My heart started pounding and my hands clenched up. And for the first time since I had learned to dive away from trouble, I wanted to deck somebody. But we were in the library. And besides, it flashed through my mind that if I decked him for what he had said, he would turn around and tell everyone that I was hot for Julie Baker. And I was not hot for Julie Baker. So I made myself laugh and say, "Oh, right," and then came up with an excuse to put some distance between him and me. After school, Garrett asked me to come to his house and hang for a while, but I had zero interest in that. I still wanted to slug him. I tried to talk myself down from feeling that way, but in my gut, I was flaming mad at the guy. He had crossed the line, man. He had crossed it big time. And what made the whole thing so stinking hard to ignore was the fact that standing right next to him on the other side of that line was my father. Ooh, I think he's got it bad for Julie, don't you? Hmm. Now we're going to go on to another chapter and Juliana's side of the story, the visit. Sunday mornings are peaceful in our house. My father lets himself sleep in. My mother lets herself not fix breakfast. And if my brothers had been out late playing with their band, you won't even know they're around until noon. Usually, I tiptoe out to collect eggs while everyone else is asleep, then spirit a bowl of Cheerios back to my room to have breakfast in bed and read. But that Sunday, after spending most of the night feeling upset or uneasy, I woke up wanting to do something physical, to shake off the confused way I was still feeling. What I really needed was a good climb in my sycamore tree, but I settled for watering the lawn while I tried to think of other things. I cranked open the spigot and admired how rich and black the dirt looked as I sprinkled back and forth across the soil, and I was busy talking to my buried seedlings, coaxing them to spring up and greet the rising sun, when my father came outside. His hair was damp from a shower, and he had a grocery bag rolled closed in his hand. "Dad, I'm sorry if I woke you." "You didn't, sweetheart. I've been up for a while." "You're not going to work, are you?" "No, I—" He studied me for a moment and then said, I'm going to visit David. Uncle David? He walked towards his truck saying, That's right, I should be back by around noon. But Dad, why today? It's Sunday. I know, sweetheart, but it's a special Sunday. I turned off the spigot. Why's that? It's his 40th birthday. I want to see him and deliver a gift, he said as he held up the paper bag. Don't worry, I'll rustle us up some pancakes for lunch, all right? I'm coming with you, I said, and tossed the hose aside. I wasn't even really dressed. I just pulled on some sweats and sneakers, no socks, but in my mind, there was no doubt I was going. Why don't you stay home and enjoy the morning with your mother? I'm sure she would. I went over to the passenger side of the truck and said, I'm coming, then climbed inside and slammed the door back in place. But, he said through the driver's side door, I'm coming, Dad. He studied me a moment and then said, Okay, and put the bag on the bench seat. Let me leave a note for your mother. While he was inside, I strapped on the lap belt and told myself that this was good. This was something I should have done years ago. Uncle David was a part of the family, part of my father, part of me. It was about time I got to know him. I studied the paper bag sitting next to me. What was my father bringing his brother for his 40th birthday? I picked it up. It wasn't a painting. It was much too light for that. Plus, it made a strange, muted, rattling sound when I shook it. I was just unrolling the top to peek inside when my father came back through the front door. I dropped the bag and straightened up, and when he slid behind the wheel, I said, It's okay with you, isn't it? He just looked at me, his hand on the key in the ignition. I I'm not ruining your day with him or anything, am I? He cranked the motor and said, No, sweetheart. I'm glad you're coming. Well, how nice. She's going to go meet her Uncle David. Yay. I'll see you next time. Stay safe, stay healthy, be kind to one another. Bye.